Hello, fellow leggers!
How are you? You're right.
You are joining us in Coventry at the Belgrade Theatre
For press night of a brand new musical called
We'll Live and Die in These Towns.
So stick around and find out all of our thoughts.
Yeah, how many legs?
And whether it's break a leg or leg it. Well, we've been on quite a journey with this piece, really, haven't we?
We'll Live and Die in These Towns?
Yeah, because we covered the press launch for this a few months ago. There's a video about that.
Now, why did it have a press launch, you're probably wondering?
Well,
it's because the writers, the musical director.
Yeah, so it's a very local piece, really. It's got a local writer, a book written by Coventry writer Geoff Thompson, in fact, and it features music from the debut album by Coventry band The Enemy. So basically a local story told by local artists, and I think it's so important to have this sort of thing, placing theatres right at the heart of the community in which they sit. You know, make it accessible and relevant for those around you.
That's what we think.
That's what they've done here at the Coventry Belgrade with We'll Live and Die in These Towns.
Yes, I think that's a good conversation. You know, tell us about your regional theatre. What sort of stuff do they put on, and do they talk about local issues?
Yeah,
do you get to see it?
Do you get to see it? Do you get to support it? Comment down below. The story here is one of a band's frontman who's climbed the dizzying heights of success and now stands on the edge of infamy, yet he's gripped by fear as he reflects on what has led him to where he is today. Interestingly enough, it's inspired, we caught up with Geoff Thompson in that press launch, by ancient myths, particularly Indian myths, and that of Jesus Christ in the Garden of Gethsemane.
Yeah,
so
he
I'm
drew on
thinking
some parallels
deeps here. It's deeps, man.
He did draw on some parallels that did sound quite interesting, and he focused on it being quite gritty, which got our attention.
It absolutely did. Musical direction for this piece is by Tom Clarke, who is the lead guitar and vocalist for The Enemy itself. So he's been so involved in creating this really exciting new piece of theatre. The cast includes Tom Milner, who is playing Argy. Now, Tom you might know as former Waterloo Road actor, and he was also featured on
The Voice.
Yeah, a couple of years ago. He was on Team Ricky. He's made like a little foray into theatre recently, so I'd be interested to see what he's got up his sleeve. Runtime
is
no idea.
No idea.
Shall we go and check?
Oh, hello.
It's a long one, 2 hours 40.
Oh my goodness,
so
that
two
is
acts,
long.
Including an interval. So we'll be catching up with you to tell you about our 30-second interval breakdown.
And stick around to find out how many legs. We've come to the interval, which means it is time for the Break-a-Leggers 30-second interval breakdown. Go! What do you think so far? You can go first.
Well, I love the space. I think the B2 space is so dynamic and it's using it to its full potential here. Visually, it's so exciting. The lighting is good. I like the staging. Yeah, what about you?
I think there's some really nice echoes in the theme of the piece that I relate to, in terms of facing fear and making the most of every single day. You only have one shot, and we've got to take that shot and use our talent to the full potential. So we've come to the end of We'll Live and Die in These Towns. Now,
quite a long title.
Quite a long title.
But I suppose if you're basing the music on one album that has the same title, there's not a lot you can do there.
And that is the key theme that they are talking about, I guess, in essence of the whole piece of these towns, and he revisits these towns. Now, the album, did you know the album?
Now, I've got a bit of history here.
Oh.
So, gosh, about 10, or well, whenever this album came out in 2007, I believe, maybe earlier than that, I don't know, comment below. But I used to go to a little alternative night in Birmingham. It was a tiny little alternative night above the main gay bar in Birmingham, the Nightingale Club. And I swear to God, only about 60 people ever went to this. It was on a Friday night. And before The Enemy made it big, my friend David, who used to organise the night, said there's this Coventry band and I think they're going to be quite up and coming and they're available, so I'm going to book them. And I got an Enemy gig with about 60 people in the audience, and they played a lot of the songs from that first album.
No way! And then they went on to play like thousands and thousands, gigs of thousands and thousands
and
of
getting
people.
multi-time platinum selling albums, and
that's insane.
Yeah,
so you did know them. Did you follow them afterwards?
No.
Okay.
I mean, I remember the album coming out and listening to the album, but no, I wasn't a big fan. But I do have previous.
Okay, interesting. Well, for me, I don't know the album. There were a couple of songs I recognised that I was like, oh, okay, I recognise this. And I'm not really big into the music world at all, especially this type of music.
Yeah, it's sort of a little bit indie.
Yeah.
A little bit country, it's a little bit rock and roll.
But you know what? There's some really good writing. Who knew a successul band makes successful songs?
I'm shocked.
Shock horror.
I mean,
some really good writing.
Special subject, the bleeding obvious.
And really nice lyrics, and there's a key piece about this is talking about the poetry of writing.
Yes, and that is a theme that I think it exists within the piece, but it's something that's lived through this album, and I think Tom Clarke would have really appreciated the fact that it's not just music that he was writing, it's storytelling, it's poetry, it's heartfelt.
Very
yet
personal
it has a beat.
Stories. This is a really, each song is real personal to the composer, to the writer, you know, to his story, and almost it comments on that betrayal that, you know, you're talking when he goes back to his hometown. The people in his hometown are like, you know, you're singing about us. That's how.
Where's our credit?
Where's
We've
our credit?
put you where you are by just living ourselves, and there's a sense of guilt about that the main character feels. You know, and sort of he's taken a huge amount of the glory away from these people who haven't had those same opportunities, and those themes are brilliantly explored in this piece, and also just totally timeless and relevant. There is a huge amount of iconography, religious iconography in this, because these stories are literally tale as old as time.
I did find it very spiritual. Funny you should say that.
Did you have an experience?
Well, like I said in the interval breakdown, just the key messages I think are really strong in terms of exploring. Sometimes we have, I mean, it was very clear he has a panic attack, our main character, in the very opening, but sometimes we are struck with fear or doubt in anything we're gonna do, whether it's a project, whether it's I don't know, seeing old friends, going out for the night, a job, or anything. Our confidence can get shot once we let that nugget of fear in. This almost does with Othello to jealousy to fear, and how it can just take over everything and become a very crippling,
become your only force,
your worst enemy.
It becomes your definition.
Yeah, and how do we then get that back? And that's what the piece is about. How do we then kind of face our demons and our thoughts? And it talks about our cognitions and what's going on in there.
So that's the intent of Geoff Thompson. But let's talk about the people that brought that story to life tonight.
Okay, who's starting for you? Do you want to talk us through Mr. Milner?
We should start with Tom Milner. Now,
okay.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen Tom Milner in other things, but do you know what? I'd go so far as to say, as so far, I think this is his defining moment.
He's really well cast. He's a very talented musician, vocalist, and he was perfect as the front man.
Yeah.
I think, for this.
Can we just talk about the insanity of the whole cast having to be actor musicians? And can we also please celebrate and champion the fact that there were women in the band?
Female musicians,
God,
which is a real trend we're beginning to see.
Good, it's about time. Not since the days of Susie Quattro have we had it so good, and I'm so pleased that we have. Would have liked a bit more ethnic diversity in the cast, especially in Coventry, where it's really rich with ethnic influence. I mean, that you only have to go to the market here in Coventry and see the brilliant cultures that exist in that town, not represented in this piece, which is a shame.
Can we be consistent then and add this to all of our reviews? Because we often say this. I think we should possibly have a diversity metric.
We should have a little culture graph.
A culture graph.
A little ethnicity graph.
Because some shows smash it and understand it and get it and represent, and other shows are a little bit more behind in that.
Yeah. Bit of a whitewash.
Whitewash. I've got to say, someone I absolutely loved. One heck of a cameo was the bassist Meg Forgan.
Yes, she gets one scene as the character Megan and is, oh my God, almost
Amazing.
Not only
show
scene stealing, almost show stealing.
Scene stealing,
Yeah,
show stealing. She was fantastic. Such a
She was.
phenomenal character actress. And then she just returned back to playing her bass at the
Yeah,
back.
it comes out of nowhere because she's playing the bass the whole time. Then she comes and she acts, and you're like, whoa!
A fantastic character actress.
Yeah,
like, phenomenal.
I had no idea that was coming.
Really good.
Also, loved Stephen Serlin,
Yes.
playing two roles as Ambassador and Owl.
Contrasting roles.
Totally very distinctive acting. He's got a huge amount of credits. I mean, he's been in Charlie and the Chocolate Factory in the West End, I Can't Sing, Mac and Mabel, it's blah, 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 blah.
He was a great actor.
Yeah.
He pretty much drives the first half of the first act.
Mm-hmm.
It's all down to him. And then in the second act, he gets a real nice contrast. This comedy character from Birmingham. Just really nice stuff. Loved it.
Also, quickly mention Quinn Patrick as Bill and Worker One, and also beautiful voice from Julie Mullins as Hips and Jane's mum. Now, let's just talk about the musicality here a second, because I've got to say, if I have to give a criticism, it's going to be the fact that I'm not sure if this piece knew whether it was a play with music or whether it was a musicale, because for the majority of the time we had pick up a guitar, play a song in the moment of picking up a guitar and playing a song, like
Just
a
as
jam
you would
session
in real life.
or a buska.
Yeah.
But then at other times, in two key scenes, it was used to drive the plot
As a musical
and
would.
set like a musical.
Yeah, and I wanted more of that.
bit
I don't know what.
confusing. Yeah, I
Did
would
you
have
want
liked
more
it to be
musical?
like that throughout.
I almost wanted it to be more liberated.
more integrated.
Yeah, it was a bit too prescriptive that, you know, this is a real story, it's gritty, therefore they can only sing when them as human beings in normal real
sing.
life would say, well, I've got something to sing, and this song reflects it, so let's sing this song.
You worry about the shoehorning of that sometimes, don't
and
you?
that's it. The worry is that then it does become shoehorny. Whereas, do you know what? This is art. This is a
Shoehorny.
creative
fetish.
environment. People should just be able to sing.
Yeah.
So,
And I mean-
an extension of the soul.
Exactly.
And
That's
when
what
that
in
happened, there was a
musical
female
theatre it
character
was.
who was the wife of the brother.
That's
and
Julie Mullins.
Julie Mullins. She had some really nice moments that did fulfil that more musical theatre-esque avenue, and those moments were great.
Yeah, I would agree. But was there anyone else in the cast you
Yes,
want to
there
mention?
was
Oh, sorry.
Mark Turnbull. I
Okay.
really liked as the kind of on-street busker. He looked great, lovely bushy hair, bushy beard, and the lovely vocals. Oh my goodness!
Thanks for being so bushy, Mark.
Rich bushiness. But there is one star of the show.
Yeah, there is one star at the show. Well, there are actually
Well,
two
actually, there's
working in
two.
harmony with one another.
Two.
And that is far and away the sound and lighting.
Sound and lighting and set and lighting.
I'm
I'd
sorry,
say.
set and lighting.
Set
You're
and
absolutely
lighted.
right. So designer Patrick Connellan and the lighting Grant Anderson. Never have I seen such harmony between set and lights.
Hallelujah.
Beautiful
stuff.
stunningly
A visual feast.
effective,
Yeah.
and totally engaging throughout. I was. Do you know what? I was blown away by it all.
Blown away.
I was.
It was the gift that kept on giving.
It really was.
Such a simple design and yet so effective. Just having the LEDs on the floor with different levels. Lovely.
Yeah,
Like,
well done,
really
Hamish
nice stuff.
Glen, for getting those great people on board.
Awesome.
Also, use of projection
Yeah, lovely projection.
by Shanaz Gulzar. Yeah, interesting. So
Okay.
let's wrap it up. For Will Live and Die in These Towns, we are going to give
4 stars for this piece.
I think if you love this style of music, you're gonna, and having a visual with it, it is almost like, you know, if you go to a gig, like a really stunning Beyonce gig, say, and it adds an extra dimension to the music you already love and listen to in your bedroom.
Yeah.
I think that experience is going to be elevated by this production.
I think if you know this album and you love the songs, you are gonna have a bloody brilliant time. Another thing I didn't mention, the only downsides about that I think is possibly coming from more of a theatre review angle, is the integration of the songs, how they came across. Also at times for me just slightly the pace was more reflective, and I would liked it to have driven more, but that's just what I think.
That's just what you think, and the rest of the stuff's just what I think. So have you seen this piece? We'd love to hear from you. Yeah, let us know.
Comment below.
It's here at the Coventry Belgrade until the 20th of October, so you've got a few weeks to see it, and we hope that you do. We're the Breakaleggers,
and we'll catch you again soon. Bye.